pangolins are endangered. According to the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, CITES, they are the world's most trafficked mammals. Of the 8 extant species, 2 are found in Zambia. These are Smartsia temminckii, that's the Temminck's ground pangolin, and Phatagenus tricuspis, the white-bellied or the tree pangolin. With reference to pangolins, science, society, and conservation, globally, the most common use is their meat for consumption and their scales for traditional medical products, and the satisfaction of the myths which surround this unique creature. Zambia, like many other countries where this pangolin is present, is no exception to the cruel treatment these pangolins undergo during illegal captivity. This is when poachers confine them and go out in search of the perceived market. The mere fact that pangolins' only defense mechanism is to roar into a tight ball makes them vulnerable to their number one predator, human beings. Disregarding the important role they play in the ecosystem, poachers have continued to remove them out of the natural environment where they control ant and termite populations, as this constitutes their diet exclusively. Unbelievably, poachers have removed them out of this natural environment. They amputate their tails and limbs out of superstitious beliefs. The scales, whose main component is keratin, a protein found in our hair and nails, are removed from alive pangolins, leaving gaping wounds that sometimes get infected by the time they get veterinary care. To counter these harrowing effects, the Zambian Department of National Parks and Wildlife have set up a rehabilitation facility. Here, pangolins that have been through the calloused hands of poachers are rehabilitated and released in 2 protected areas. This is where I come in. I provide veterinary care to these animals and ensure that they are rehabilitated and released back into the wild. My everyday interaction has created a deep and emotional experience. I would like to share a sneak peek of my daily work life through some pictures. How do you feel about these? Unfortunately, these emotions are not only of triumph and satisfaction, they do ignite indignant emotions as well. In the rehabilitation of pangolins, the veterinary team and I often have to consider several critical rehabilitation and treatment options. Euthanasia is one such treatment option. Despite understanding that euthanasia is the best humane choice for suffering and animals in pain, it can cause moral stress, according to Bernard E. Rowland. These and many other procedures do cause moral stress to caregivers. At this point, I would like to share another set of pictures. Please be warned, they are of graphic content. How do you feel about these? Unfortunately, these are the day-to-day experiences these pangolins have and undergo on a daily basis. This particular pangolin was caught in a snare. The poachers got it, took it to their homestead, and confined it in a plastic drum for over 3 weeks without food or water. In the meantime, the poacher went out in search of the market. As fate might be, he was intercepted by law enforcement officers. At the time of rescue of this pangolin, its limb was putrefied and had maggots feeding off its dead flesh. The only option we had was to euthanize this animal. During its autopsy, it was discovered that she was pregnant and her fetus was full term. These are the harsh realities these animals face when taken out of their natural environment. As with many other people working with animals, working with pangolins is very emotional and very transformative too. Working with animals at whatever level helps one create and add to the positivity of saving these lives. However, the time spent with injured and distressed animals can cause compassion fatigue, a term described by VetLife as a state experienced by those helping animals to a degree that it can cause secondary traumatic stress. This fatigue is driven by the empathy during the caregiving process. If this fatigue is not attended to, it can cause mental and physical health challenges. Initially, being away from an emergency situation when a pangolin was rescued left me with a guilty feeling. This was more pronounced when the pangolin died. The moment of rescue and release back into the natural environment gets me asking questions. Is this the right thing we did? Will this pangolin cope out there in the wild? Won't it be recycled by the poachers? As the famous environmentalist Aldo Leopold postulates, one of the penalties of an ecological educationist is that one lives alone in a world of wounds. At this point, does this emotional stress provoke thoughts of me giving up on saving these lives? Of course not. Actually, I'm more determined and fired up to help curb the illegal removal of these animals. In the meantime, taking care of myself. So, how do I even go about this? I have learned over time that having conversations with like minded individuals or people who are in situations such as mine helps. It helps me develop ideas on how to cope and to be real with these suffering animals. And this is where you come in. I would like to implore the public to refrain from removing these animals from their natural environment. Time and again, we have seen pangolins that have been set ablaze, stoned to death by mobs. If they are in this environment that is not typically theirs, kindly report this to the authorities. I would also like to ask everyone to educate one another on the importance of this pangolin in our ecosystem. Children are our future. Please talk to the children about these animals and the importance in our future. I would also like to ask that many of us are surrounded by politicians who are very close to them, help lobby for them to advocate for stricter laws and for law enforcement. For us here, please desist from harming the environment. Keep away from deforestation, as well as encroachment in these natural habitats. As I leave, I would like to say this. Never, never be afraid to do what is right, especially if the well-being, a person, or an animal is at stake. Martin Luther King Jr.